Hello and welcome to week 3. And today I'm going to show you how to edit all of your videos and podcasts at the same time with a tool called Descript. This is an amazing AI-powered tool that allows you to edit your videos and your podcasts by editing transcript. So it has a very little learning curve. Literally, if you know how to read, you can edit your videos and your podcasts. So for this lesson, you will need this tool. So go ahead and sign up with a free plan. I will add my affiliate link in the description below. So if you use it and end up upgrading to one of the paid plans, I will earn a small commission, which I appreciate. Now to get started, you can just click on Get Started. You'll be prompted to sign up with your email, create password, just the standard sign up process. And then what you want to do is you want to download Descript for desktop. Once you download Descript for desktop and install it on your computer, you'll see something like this. This is the desktop version of Descript, which is amazing. It allows you to work on your projects without the internet connection. It also allows you to record videos just like the one that I'm recording right now. The screen capture with a little square here on the left-hand side for your face, which means that you don't have to invest in another screen capture software, which I really like. And then an amazing thing too is that all of your videos that you record, just like this one, are going to end up in Descript and you can edit them right away. Now to get started on editing footage that you created last week, all you need to do is upload this footage to your computer and then click on the button here on the right top corner. It says New and select Video Project. Now you can give it a title. For instance, the video that I'm going to be working on is called How to Create Content Strategy. Now what we want to do is we want to add file. There are a couple of ways how you can add file. You can just click on this button right here and then select the file that you want to add. You can also drag and drop your file into this field right here on the left hand side, which is my preferred way of uploading files to Descript. So I'm going to locate my file and I'm going to drag and drop it into the field. All right, and as you can see, the field becomes blue. And then at the bottom here, you will see adding file. It means that your file has been added. And now it's going to start transcribing. All right, now you'll see this pop up where you can select the language for your transcript and then click on transcribe. And then you're also going to select your speaker. So for my video, I only have one speaker, so I'm just going to type in my name here. But if you have multiple speakers, you can also select multiple and then play a little clip of each person speaking that Descript will provide for you to identify the speakers. And then after you're done identifying speakers, you can go ahead and click done. And as you can see, Descript is transcribing this video. Now that Descript transcribed our video, we can actually start editing it here as a transcript, which in turn will also edit the audio and the video file as well. So here on the left-hand side, you can see the transcript, you can see the video on the right-hand side, and then you also see what is called your timeline here at the bottom. So this right here at the bottom is the sound. And as you can see that there are pauses here, we got some ums. So we want to start by removing these ums, these filler words and pauses. And Descript has amazing tools to do that literally in seconds. So even if you don't usually edit your podcasts or your videos, it's super easy to get started. There are a couple of ways how you can remove all filler words at once. And my favorite way to do that is by clicking on this little star button here and clicking on Remove Filler Words. Now you have a couple of options. You can delete all of your filler words, which you can see them on the right here. You have kind of, so, and some repeats right here, but there's also this option to ignore them. And I actually prefer this option because this way you can actually recover some of these filler words if you need to. So I'll show you why you might need to recover them. So what we'll do is we'll just select all filler words. We're going to select ignore, and we're going to click remove all. Now, as you can see, this is actually crossed off. So as you can see that the script removed all of these filler words. Now, if you need to recover some of these filler words, for instance, in this case, it says, so you entered your email. This is like a part of the sentence. So I want to recover this, right? So what I want to do is I actually want to highlight it and then click on this button, ignore, and this will actually recover it. And then another thing that you want to do is you want to shorten your word gaps. So as you can see here, if we look, there are a lot of different gaps. I'm going to enlarge it right here. So if you look at the timeline, you can see that there are spots where I'm not saying anything because I'm probably looking into my notes. So I don't really need those parts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the start button again, and I'm going to click on shorten word gaps. And I like to shorten gaps that are 2 seconds or more to about 1 second. And I have 139 of these gaps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on shorten all. But before I do that, I want you to look at the time, how long this footage is. So for my video, it's 35 minutes. Now, when I click on shorten all, you'll see that I just deleted 10 minutes of footage that I actually did not need. So I saved myself a ton of time on editing this footage and having to manually delete every single gap. So these two tools are amazing. If you have a podcast and you interview guests and maybe you don't have absolutely no time to do any other editing, just by using these two tools, removing filler words and removing gaps, you can make your podcast sound much better. All right, so after we've removed all filler words, what we want to do is we want to remove repeated takes. And as you can see, I have multiple takes here where I tried to say this first line and it just didn't come out right. A quick tip, if you have multiple takes, there's a very high chance that the last take is the best. So I'm actually going to highlight all of these and then I'm going to click on delete. And that is all gone along with the video and the audio at the same time. Pretty cool, right? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through my transcript and I'm going to remove all of the repeated takes so that I only have one take of each sentence. The next thing I want to show you is how to remove pauses. So even though we shorten word gaps, there's still instances, for example, right here between the word today and the next sentence where I have this gap and I don't really want it, right? I want to shorten it. So let me just enlarge in this spot right here. And by the way, you can do that on Mac by holding the command button and clicking the plus button. So to remove this gap, there are a couple of things that you can do. You can hover over this right corner right here by the word end, and you will see this little hand that will pop up, and you can go ahead and hold and drag it to shorten this gap. I don't like to remove the gap entirely because then it may sound unnatural, but I will leave a smaller gap here. Now I can go through and make sure that I don't have any other gaps. So for instance here, I can go ahead and do the same thing. Just go ahead and drag, make it shorter. And then here I have a very large gap. So another thing that you can do to remove a gap is you can select this blade tool or this razor tool right here at the top of your timeline, and then you can click on the spot where you want to cut, and then you'll go back to select and then click on this pause here. You will see that it will be highlighted in blue, and then you can just go ahead and click delete. So now that pause is gone. And then we can go back to adjusting these pauses, removing these pauses right here. Be careful though, because sometimes there are little areas like this one where you can see that the speech is in the gray area. And that means that the person is still saying something, but the script is not recognizing what exactly is being said for some reason. So you don't want to remove that because it might damage basically what you were saying, the footage. So we'll go through and we'll shorten all of these gaps to make sure that you have a good flow of your video. So now that we've edited all of these word gaps, we have a pretty good video with a very nice flow and no gaps, no repeated takes, no ums. Now, if you're happy with how the video turned out, you can definitely go ahead and export it by clicking on Publish and then Export. I like to select maximum resolution, high quality, and then export your video. And then you can also click on audio and export your audio file as well. If you're exporting audio to upload it to your podcasting software, you want to select MP3 file and then click Export. Now you can also export your transcript as well for the further use. But if you want to spice your video up, you want to add music, B-roll, maybe text, sound effects, I'll show you how to do that right now. So to add music and sound effects, what I'm going to do is I'm going to enlarge this timeline right here so it's easier to see. And there are a couple of ways how you can add music. So for instance, I could just click on this plus button right here to add layer, and I could just select audio. And then I could listen to these different tracks that Descript provides and select the one that we like. I like this one. I'm going to go ahead and click on it. You'll see that the track appeared here at the top. And let's listen to how it sounds. Many small business owners have a hard time. So to me, it sounds a little bit too loud. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to click to select this audio. And I'm going to click on the audio volume right here. And for all of the background music, I usually do -27 dB. And that will just ensure that you can still hear the speaker behind this music. Let's listen to it again. Many small business owners have a hard time competing for attention. Maybe even -29. There we go. And then another thing I want to do is I want to soften how music comes in. So I'm going to take this little circle right here and I'm going to click on it and drag it. And you'll see that this will create this kind of like a faded effect. Let's listen to this again. Many small business owners have a hard time competing for attention online today. And it's not surprising. It takes a lot of time and so I like that, but I think it's a little bit too long of a transition, so I'm going to shorten it a little bit. Many small business owners have a hard time competing for attention online today, and it's not surprising. So I like that. Now, if you want to end this track before it naturally ends, there are a couple of things you can do. You can hover over the end of the track right here. You'll see this little tool pops up with 2 arrows. You can click on it and drag it, and then you can drop it where you want the track to end. And then for instance, I want to also soften the ending of this track so then it doesn't just abruptly ends. Let's listen to this. Soon I figured out the difference. Brand mission. So as you could hear, the music abruptly stops. So what I want to do is I want to actually add the fade here as well. Mission statement and the content mission statement. Aren't they the same thing? Soon I figured out the difference. Brand mission. I think I might want to end it a little bit sooner right here. I was wondering, what is the difference between the brand mission statement and the content mission statement? Aren't they the same thing? Soon I figured out that. Okay, that flows a little bit better. Now, if I wanted to add another track, I could click on here where I wanted to come in and I could click on audio and I could select a track. And then you'll see the audio right here. And then we can click on it. And again, we can adjust the volume to -27 to start. And then we can make sure that there's a little bit of a fade, like a transition at the beginning and at the end. And let's listen to this. Statement. Aren't they the same thing? Soon I figured out the difference. Brand mission statement helps you answer questions such as... So again, this track is a little bit too loud. I'm just going to adjust it to -30. Same thing. Soon I figured out the difference. Brand mission statement help. So this is how you add music. Now, what if I wanted to add a little pop of text? where I mentioned Joe Pulizzi's book called Epic Content Marketing. What I could do is I could click on this little plus button right here, go back to our options and click on text. Alternatively, I could also click on this T button at the top and select title, subtitle, text, or captions. All right. Now, then to change this text, I can just go ahead and click on this text right here, select delete, and then say I want to say Joe. I want to make sure I spell his name correctly. Pulizzi. Actually, let me double check how you spell his name. In this case, Joe Pulizzi's last name was actually misspelled. So what I will do is I will highlight his name right here, and I'm going to click correct, which will edit the transcription itself, not the audio file. And I'm going to correct the spelling. There we go, correct. Now, as you can see, this did not damage the audio or video file, but only updated the spelling, which is really helpful if you end up using the transcript for captions. So now what I will do is I will just highlight this, copy it, click on the T button here at the top, and select the title. So I'll just drop it right here, and then I'll highlight it, delete it, and add my text. And as you can see, it is a very large. I can go to this field on the right hand side and I can play around with it. So for instance, I can change the font right here. I can also change how big the font is. So for instance, maybe I want it to be that big. That's perfect. And then I can also play around with different effects with the layout, and I like to also add shadows here. So I'll go ahead and move this right here. Now, what if I want to move the text, right? So what I can do is I can actually make it bigger right here. I can also click on the text and drag it to the bottom right here. And then maybe I want to delete this word called, so I'll just highlight it, delete it, and there we go. So let's listen to this really quick. When I first came across the term content mission statement in Joe Pulizzi's book called Epic Content Marketing, so now as you can see, the text is appearing exactly when I say Joe Pulizzi's book called Epic Content Marketing, which is great. But in case if you do need to adjust where the text appears, you can actually hover over the side here of the text and you can move it and drag it where you want it to come in. All right. Now, the next thing I want to show you is how to add a sound effect if you want like a little click or a little pop sound. I use that often in my videos. So to do that, we'll actually need to go to another music library. I haven't found the sound effect here in Descripts library. So I'll show you a couple of options. One of them is Epidemic Sound, which is the library of music that I use. They have a ton of different sound effects. And then another one is a free option, which is YouTube's audio library. So if you go to your channel on YouTube and scroll down to the bottom here, there is a button called Audio Library. And here they also have some music and sound effects that you can use for free. So what I'm looking for is a pop sound. So I'm going to go to sound effects and enter pop. And we have different pop sounds here. So I'm going to go ahead and download this pop sound and simply drag and drop this sound. And as you can see, we have this new layer that popped up right here. And let's listen to this again. When I first came across the term content mission statement in Joe Pulizzi's book, so it sounds too harsh to me, so I'm actually going to go ahead and adjust this audio to negative or even 12. So what I want to do is I want the text and the pop happening at the same time. So I could adjust the text, or I could also adjust where the pop appears, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and adjust the text. Let's see how it turned out. Statement in Joe Pulizzi's book. So that's a lot better. I still feel like the sound effect is a little bit too loud. So I'm actually going to make it negative 17. In Joe Pulizzi's book called... So that sounds much better. If you would rather use another sound like a click or maybe like a whoosh or something, feel free to do that. Now, if you end up using Epidemic Sound, they have a ton more sound effects. So for just the pop, you will see that there is not two, but a ton of different results with different types of pops, and you can select the one that you like most. Now, I also want to show you how to add B-roll, and you can use your own B-roll that you've created if you filmed any of it. You can also create different B-roll in Canva, which is a free graphic design tool, and you can also use stock footage. You can get free stock footage on websites such as Pexels and Pixabay. And on Pexels, you can select video in the drop-down. And for instance, I want to find overwhelmed business owner. Don't really like that one. Let's select busy. All right, so I found this video and I want to use it as B-roll in my video. So I'll go ahead and download the full HD version of it. And then I'll find a spot where I want this footage to go. And then I'll drag and drop this footage into my timeline. As you can see, the video appeared right here. And now let's look at how it all turned out. And if you consider that 47% of all small business owners are actually solely responsible for marketing their business, you realize that they probably don't have the time to create content daily and post it on all different platforms. So creating Perfect. That looks great. If you were curious why I have certain spots highlighted here, it's because I highlight areas where I was reading off my script and I was planning on adding B-roll here. Just so you know, that's why I have this highlighted text here. And for instance, if you wanted to highlight text just the same way to know where you want to add your B-roll, you can just go ahead and highlight it like this and then select a color that you want to use. Now, I want to show you how to turn your video into your podcast after you are done editing your video entirely. And to do so, we will highlight the entire transcript. And I like to click Command-C. Basically, we just want to copy this. And then we will go here and we'll add a new composition. And we'll just click on the plus button and we'll call this podcast version. And then we'll paste what we just copied. So it looks like I only copied this little part. So I want to go back and I want to highlight everything, copy and paste. There we go. Now we got everything here. Perfect. All we need to do is add intro and outro. If you have them recorded already, you can go ahead and drop them here at the beginning and at the end of your video. So I have my intro and outro actually here in the script. And so what I'm gonna do is I will highlight my intro. I will copy it, go back to my podcast version right here and paste. So now you'll see on the right hand side, I actually don't have video because this is just the audio file. And once my intro ends, I have this pause now and I don't want it here, so I'll go ahead and remove it. Now you'll see that this track right here actually extended itself onto my intro and I don't want it there. So I will just go ahead and drag it back to where my video / podcast actually starts. Sometimes it happens, not a big deal. And then we'll do the same thing with our outro. There we go. And then we'll remove this pause here also. All right, so that is it. There are a lot of different awesome features that Descript has. For instance, if you ever feel like there's a part that you want to add, but you just don't feel like re-recording video, you can actually record just the audio and add a B-roll to cover it. So for instance, right here, you can see that I have this written. This is just the script. You can see here at the bottom, it has the T, but there is no audio attached to it. And there are a couple of things that I can do with this. I can highlight it and replace this text with a recording. So I could record directly into the script with my microphone that is hooked up to my computer. And then I can also add overdub. And Descript has this amazing feature where you can assign a voice to yourself. You can select stock voices. Here, I'll play one for you.
Life is like a camera.
So you can select these stock AI voices to record this part for you. For instance, I'm going to select Nancy right here. I'm going to click done. All right. And then you will see that this part is now populated with an audio.
Don't forget to grab your multi-channel content strategy deck below and leave questions in the comments if you have any. I'll see you in the next one.
So there you have it. You can also use AI voices if you would like. And then, for instance, to write this, all you need to do is type W to start writing. You'll see that this little field turns into blue and you can write something. There we go. Pretty cool, right? Unfortunately, I can't go through every single amazing feature that Descript offers. They have an amazing YouTube channel. They also do regular live streams where they teach you how to create a better podcast, better video content. So I would definitely check it out. And then for the sake of time and keeping this concise, I'm going to end our lesson here. And after you've added your intro, your outro, your podcast sounds amazing, everything looks good, you can go ahead and click on publish, export audio, and export it in MP3 file to upload it to your podcasting software. All right, that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one.